Wang Lin's desperate life-or-death clash with the All-Seer, pushing beyond his limits to unleash 33 sword strikes, sacrificing everything while standing on the brink of death. Every time Wang Lin used the magic arsenal, a quiet admiration rose within him for Bai Fan. To create such a spell, one that imprisoned the souls of those slain, forcing them to serve, denying them entry into the cycle of reincarnation or even the chance to dissipate into nothingness. It was an act that defied the heavens themselves. This spell had already crossed into forbidden territory. It stood at the edge of replacing the heavens in their role of judgment. At that moment, Master Void's soul burst forth. Killing intent surged from him like a storm. Even the headless figure before them paled in comparison. Master Void had died with boundless resentment. In life he had been a peak nirvana shatterer enduring his first heaven's blight. Now the power of his soul was terrifying beyond measure. The instant he emerged, he clashed with the headless figure. Countless bound souls joined him. The tide of battle shifted in an instant. Yet Wang Lin paid a heavy price. The spell left behind by Celestial Emperor Bai Fan had consumed nearly all of Wang Lin's remaining celestial origin energy. Without the origin soul of esteemed Xuan Bao sustaining him, he would have long since been exhausted. Even so, his reserves were dwindling rapidly. If he could not obtain more celestial origin souls, then once his energy ran dry, Bai Fan's spells would become unusable. At most, he could still summon Call the Wind, but its power would be greatly diminished. In the distance, the All-Seer frowned. He had not expected Wang Lin to still possess another hidden card. Cold light gathered in his eyes. His right hand formed a seal, then pointed toward the heavens. The black and white chaos churned violently. From within it, a massive python's head shot out like lightning. A horn rose from its skull, its scales black as night. Strange, vivid markings covered its body, lending it a savage and ancient presence. Its cold gaze locked onto Wang Lin. Then it lunged. But it was not alone. A half-rotted black killin followed its body, exuding the stench of decay. Black light flickered in its eyes as it roared and charged forward. Behind it, 5 more headless figures emerged, as though the chaos itself housed endless horrors. They rushed forward, surrounding Master Void, launching relentless attacks. Wang Lin's eyes flickered. He had intended to summon the All-Seer's avatars from the 18th layer of hell. But as he stared at the All-Seer, a thought surfaced. A sneer formed on his lips. The All-Seer was deliberately escalating the battle, summoning beast after beast, likely to force him into summoning those 2 avatars. Whether that guess was true or not, Wang Lin felt an instinctive aversion. To summon the All-Seer's own avatars before his true body, it left a bitter taste. The python closed in like lightning, its foul stench thick in the air. Wang Lin closed his eyes. The armor on his body blazed with light. A white vermilion bird burst forth, crying sharply as it rushed toward the python. The clash echoed with the roar of the beast and the piercing cry of the bird. The All-Seer's eyes brightened. A faint smile appeared. What he had been waiting for, aside from the avatars, was this very vermilion bird. The moment it appeared, he stepped forward. 1 step, and he closed the distance. He ignored Wang Lin entirely. His hand reached out mercilessly toward the white vermilion bird. My heavenly fate for spirit lacks only the vermilion bird. If I obtain it today, it will be a cause for great joy. The white vermilion bird hissed. Flames erupted wildly from its body. Yet the All-Seer's hand pierced through the inferno, unstoppable, grasping toward it. The python evaded the flames and lunged straight at Wang Lin. Its maw opened wide, seeking to devour him whole. At this critical moment, Wang Lin's face was pale, yet his eyes held no fear. A vortex formed between his brows. His weakened origin soul surged forth, the ancient thunder dragon. The instant it emerged, it roared. A thunderous roar. The sound drained what little strength remained in Wang Lin's soul. But the python let out a shrill cry. Lightning arced wildly across its body. Fear flooded its eyes. It abandoned its attack, attempting to retreat. Then the chaos within a 50-kilometer radius began to churn violently. Thunder roared from beyond. Even the All-Seer was shaken. The thunder pierced through the chaos, descending upon the python. Not one bolt, but countless. They surrounded the python. Even the All-Seer found himself encircled. As the thunder roared, the python screamed in agony. Its body collapsed. Killing intent surged in the All-Seer's eyes. He had not expected Wang Lin to still possess such a method. His right hand did not falter. It continued toward the vermilion bird. At the same time, his left hand rose, slamming down toward Wang Lin. No one can save you. The 6 elders of the vermilion bird divine sect roared in unison, attempting to intervene. But ancient devil, Tajia, was too powerful. Even together, even with the flame giant, they were losing ground. 3 elders coughed blood, their faces ashen. Their injuries were severe. They were close, but far too late. The descending palm carried killing intent. Wang Lin's eye flashed blue. An azure shield formed. Yet the instant it touched the palm, it shattered, splitting apart before returning to his eye. In that fleeting moment, Wang Lin reached into the void. He could no longer care for his injuries. A crack opened before him. The god-slaying spear emerged. He hurled it forward. A deafening impact rang out. The spear shattered into fragments of light. Not because it was weak, but because what Wang Lin summoned was only an illusion. With his current injuries, he could not unleash its full might. Before the All-Seer's palm, it could not endure. The All-Seer's right hand trembled slightly. The killing intent in his gaze deepened. Only now did he fully understand just how difficult Wang Lin was to kill. But that only strengthened his resolve. Wang Lin must die. Though the spear shattered, it bought him a sliver of time. Madness flickered in Wang Lin's eyes. If you want to kill me, then you must pay the price. As his roar echoed, a third eye opened between his brows. It stared directly at the All-Seer, teacher and disciple. Their second clash since that day on planet Tianyun. One sought to kill, the other struggled to live. Water and fire irreconcilable. The third eye opened. A red light burst forth. The final remnants of source origin surged outward, enveloping the All-Seer's palm and his entire body. Even the All-Seer trembled. Source origin. His body began to dissipate. Behind him, thousands of versions of himself appeared, struggling, roaring in fury. It was as if an unseen balance had been shattered. The moment the All-Seer was forced to halt, one of the 6 elders revealed a look of grim resolve. Their duty was to protect Wang Lin. If he died here, it would extinguish the last hope of the vermilion bird divine sect. The sorrow they had endured for tens of thousands of years, none outside the sect could understand. The old man smiled bitterly. He spread his arms. Madness filled his eyes. He detonated his origin soul. A nirvana shatterer's self-destruction. Heaven-shaking. World-shattering. He gave up everything, though Wang Lin did not even know his name. For hope, he chose destruction. Thunder roared. His body tore apart. His origin soul unleashed a devastating force, sweeping forward. The All-Seer's eyes flashed. His right hand rose to his brow. 3 marks appeared. He tore one apart. In that instant, his cultivation surged wildly. Power erupted like a storm, blocking the source origin and halting the impact of the self-destruction. Using that moment, Wang Lin retreated rapidly. At last, distance formed between them. The All-Seer's white hair flowed. His aged face grew younger, now resembling a man of 50. The aura he emitted made all present draw in a cold breath. Even ancient devil, Tajia narrowed his eyes. It has been nearly 20,000 years since I opened this first seal. Wang Lin, to force me to release the full power of my first heaven's blight, you truly lived up to being my disciple. At that moment, beyond the dust of the demon spirit land, an army appeared. More than 10,000 cultivators. At their head stood a white-robed elder, radiating celestial energy. His presence was that of a true immortal. Behind him stood nearly 100 celestials. They were the remnants of the Rain Celestial realm. This elder was second only to Celestial Lord Qing Shuang. Within the alliance, his status was surpassed only by Master Zhong Xuan. Elsewhere, an illusory figure crossed the stars. Each step seemed slow but spanned immeasurable distance. It was the origin soul of the vermilion bird divine emperor, and from another direction, two more figures approached. The old man of the brilliant void realm and Mu Bingmei. There existed an exceedingly strange domain within the star system. It was boundless, immeasurable, and counted among the forbidden lands of the Cultivation Alliance. Its strangeness lay in its appearance. From afar, it resembled an illusion trees that pierced the heavens, endless stretches of grass reaching beyond sight. At a single glance, it all seemed unreal, almost fabricated. This beautiful jungle, something that should have belonged upon a planet instead, floated silently in the void of space. And it was not merely a jungle, but an immense forest, as though it had existed since time immemorial. Dense wood origin energy permeated the entire star domain. It condensed into a green mist that shrouded everything, lingering endlessly, refusing to disperse. Any cultivator who approached would find their origin energy stagnating. Some would even watch it vanish entirely without a trace. Even the Cultivation Alliance feared this place. Thus, it was declared forbidden. Only a handful of ancient monsters, beings who had lived through countless ages, still retained vague memories of this mist-filled domain. Though blurred by time, those memories had never been erased. This was the location of the four divine sects' Azure Dragon Divine Sect. At this moment, a figure slowly appeared in the distant void. He looked middle-aged. In his eyes lingered traces of reminiscence and faint melancholy. Gazing at the Azure Dragon Divine Sect, he let out a quiet sigh. He raised his right hand and pointed forward. A vermilion bird phantom manifested, letting out a piercing cry that echoed through the heavens as it surged into the green mist. Moments later, several figures shot out from within the green light. 3 of them led the group, their hair white, their faces marked deeply by the passage of time. Behind them followed 6 elders closely trailing. "Greetings, vermilion bird divine emperor." The 9 old men clasped their hands with solemn respect upon seeing the middle-aged man. "The vermilion bird awakener has appeared. I require the holy treasure of your Azure Dragon Divine Sect. You will also come with me." The speaker was the origin soul of the vermilion bird divine emperor. To ensure no mishap would occur, he had already visited the Black Tortoise Divine Sect and the White Tiger Divine Sect. This was his final stop. The 9 elders exchanged glances. They did not hesitate long. One of the 3 leading elders stepped forward and nodded respectfully. "We obey the command of the vermilion bird divine emperor." Meanwhile, within the demon spirit land, by relying on the self-destruction of one of the 6 elders of the vermilion bird divine sect, Wang Lin managed to escape the All-Seer. His eyes were bloodshot and unbearable pain tore through his heart from his injuries. In the distance, the remaining 5 elders of the vermilion bird divine sect were unable to arrive in time. None of them were at peak Nirvana Shatterer stage, most lingered in the early or middle stages. Even as they fought ancient devil Tajia, they were already struggling. A single lapse would result in grave injury. These 5 elders were surrounded by blazing flames, with magic treasures revolving around them. These were no ordinary treasures. They were void treasures accumulated by the vermilion bird divine sect over countless years. Though inferior to pseudo-Nirvana void treasures, when combined with the flame giant and the assistance of the flower imperial concubine who had subdued the humanoid creature, they could barely contend against the ancient devil. Even so, once the ancient devil cast spells, their disadvantage became painfully clear. The All-Seer remained calm. After tearing away the mark between his brows, a terrifying aura enveloped him. Step by step, he advanced toward Wang Lin. "To die at my hands while I stand at first heaven's blight, you may laugh in hell." With a single step, a storm roared into existence. Before he even drew near it, swept toward Wang Lin. It felt like countless blades carving into his flesh. Popping sounds rang out as Wang Lin was blasted backward. He coughed out blood. His expression turned ferocious. Throughout his cultivation life, had it not been for his relentless struggle and unyielding resilience, he would have died countless times already. Blood stained the corner of his lips. He slapped his bag of holding, summoning dozens of flying swords. With a furious roar, he pointed forward. The sword shot toward the All-Seer. At the same time, he took out the third god-slaying war chariot. The moment it appeared, it transformed into a butterfly. With a single flap of its wings, the power of laws spread outward. The All-Seer did not stop. His expression remained calm. Facing the incoming swords, his lips moved slightly as though murmuring a spell. The swords froze mid-air. Then thunder roared. All of them shattered into fragments. Those fragments turned and shot back toward Wang Lin. Under the unseen spell of the All-Seer, the fragments gathered, forming a dragon composed entirely of razor-sharp shards. It roared as it charged at Wang Lin, only to collide with the butterfly. The butterfly flapped its wings again. Crackling sounds erupted from the dragon, harsh grating, like countless blades grinding against one another. In an instant, the dragon shattered into dust, scattering into the wind. Wang Lin's scalp tingled. This was the first time he had faced an opponent whose technique he could not even perceive, and had nearly died for it. Had he not summoned the god-slaying war chariot in time, he would have been caught completely off guard. The butterfly flapped its wings once more. Invisible winds infused with law swept toward the All-Seer, yet his expression did not change. He simply chanted again. Explosions shook the heavens. Ripples spread outward layer upon layer, striking the butterfly. It trembled violently, showing signs of collapse. A deep struggle flashed in Wang Lin's eyes. Forming a seal, he coughed out a large mouthful of blood onto the butterfly and shouted, "Activate the third seal." The butterfly trembled. It flapped its wings again. Above it, 4 incomplete petals appeared. As the wings moved, the petals drifted forward. The All-Seer's eyes flickered with faint surprise. He raised his right hand and waved it lightly. The void before him shattered. Countless fragments appeared as though the sky itself had broken. They surged toward Wang Lin. The butterfly still bore the 4 petals, but they had no time to unleash their true power. The fragments swept past Wang Lin, and the butterfly vanished. In that instant, the All-Seer closed in. His expression remained calm. He raised his right index finger and pointed directly at the space between Wang Lin's brows. If this strike landed, even Wang Lin's ancient god body would collapse instantly. His weakened origin soul would vanish completely. From that moment onward, there would be no one named Wang Lin in this world. The All-Seer's strength was like an insurmountable mountain before him. Wang Lin instinctively felt that he could not resist, that even resistance would be futile. But the moment that thought arose, he crushed it. "I refuse." His roar echoed with madness. As the All-Seer's finger descended, Wang Lin pulled out a sword sheath from his bag of holding and raised it before him. The finger collided with the sheath. A heaven-shaking explosion erupted. Cracks spread across the sheath. Though it did not shatter, the force sent Wang Lin flying. He coughed out blood. His vision blurred. His origin soul felt as though it would tear apart. His body seemed ready to collapse at any moment. What held him together now was only his refusal to yield and his will to defy the heavens. The All-Seer paused. Though outwardly calm, the rebound from the sword sheath had startled him. Killing intent flickered in his eyes. Taking a step, he seemed to teleport directly before Wang Lin. His right hand rose ready to strike down mercilessly. At that exact moment, a terrifying killing intent surged from the depths of the demon spirit land. The earth exploded. A shadow covered in tattoos burst forth from beneath the ground. Faster than even the All-Seer, it shot forward like thunder. A cold, furious roar shook the heavens. "Whoever harms my lord shall become Tarshan's mortal enemy." As the All-Seer's palm descended, the shadow threw out a talisman made of beast skin. It burned into smoke instantly. The smoke surged, increasing his speed several-fold. In a flash, he arrived before Wang Lin, blocking the strike. Thunder roared. The tattooed man was blasted backward, clutching Wang Lin in his arms. Blood spilled from his mouth. Many of the tattoos across his body collapsed. Yet his expression remained savage. The surrounding smoke rushed into his body, healing him. A portion also entered Wang Lin, stabilizing him. At that same moment, a miserable scream echoed. Big Head's body had been destroyed by the All-Seer's avatar. His origin soul was gravely wounded on the verge of annihilation. Just then, the heavily injured Lei Ji roared. He rushed forward, intercepting the attack meant for Big Head. Boom! Lei Ji's body collapsed. His origin soul nearly dissipated. Master Hollow Wind waved his sleeve, collecting Lei Ji's origin soul. But the price? A sword from one of the All-Seer's avatars pierced straight through his chest. Master Hollow Wind coughed blood, retreating with a bitter smile. He quickly moved toward the equally gravely injured Chen brothers. At that very moment, Tajia spread his arms wide. Behind him, the phantom of a crescent moon slowly emerged. Then, with a single strike, Moon Burial, the void treasures before the 5 elders shattered instantly. The force blasted them backward, and each coughed up blood. The flame giant, formed by nearly 100 disciples of the Vermilion Bird Divine Sect, collapsed beneath that spell. The countless origin souls returned to their bodies. All of them spat out large mouthfuls of blood. The All-Seer paid no attention to any of this. His gaze remained fixed on Ta Shan, whose body was covered in tattoos. Slowly he spoke. "You have been hiding down there for a long time. I thought you would never come out." Ta Shan fell into silence. He had indeed been hiding below for a long time. This battle had nothing to do with him. There had been no need for him to appear. That had been his intention from the beginning. Yet just now, when Wang Lin stood at the brink of life and death, a roar erupted from within him. His body moved on its own, rushing out without restraint. Ta Shan, Wang Lin's face was pale and haggard, yet his eyes had grown even sharper. At this moment, Ta Shan supported him, while blood seeped from the corner of Wang Lin's mouth. Wang Lin drew a deep breath. "Let go of me. Go help Big Head." His hand tightened around the sword sheath as he stared at the All-Seer. His killing intent surged like a monstrous tide. He seemed to have returned to the days on planet Suzaku, a fiend driven by boundless killing intent. "I, Wang Lin, am a heaven-defying cultivator. Even if I must die, I will die with an unyielding spirit. There is nothing to fear in life, it is merely death." The sword sheath in his hand shattered into countless fragments, leaving behind only a rusty iron sword. Ta Shan hesitated for a brief moment before retreating silently. He looked at Wang Lin, and for an instant a faint glimmer returned to Wang Lin's eyes. Then Ta Shan turned abruptly and charged toward the battlefield, where Big Head and Master Hollow Wind were locked in combat. Wang Lin had forced Ta Shan to leave because he understood clearly, despite possessing the inheritance of the tattoo. Clan's holy ancestor. Ta Shan's cultivation was still insufficient to face the All-Seer. Though Ta Shan appeared unharmed after that earlier strike, Wang Lin knew he would not survive a second. Gripping the iron sword, Wang Lin inhaled deeply. He looked at the All-Seer, a trace of bitterness flickering across his face. "Let me call you teacher, one last time. Without you, I do not know where I would be. Perhaps I would have still left planet Suzaku. Perhaps I would have hidden myself away in some distant place. This is my struggle for survival. If I die, teacher, please bury me on planet Suzaku. Even if I cannot enter reincarnation, let me rest in my homeland. Situ and the others have nothing to do with this. If I die, I hope teacher will spare them." The All-Seer remained calm. He looked at Wang Lin, pondered briefly, and then gave a slight nod. Wang Lin burst into laughter. The sound was filled with arrogance. His body was riddled with pain, his origin soul crumbling, yet his hands did not tremble. He held the iron sword and slowly raised it. "All-Seer," he shouted. With a swing of his right hand, all the origin energy within his body surged into the iron sword. A harsh sword hymn rang out. A colossal phantom sword appeared in the air and slashed toward the All-Seer. 1 strike, 2 strikes, 3 strikes. The All-Seer did not move. He simply watched calmly as the strikes connected one after another. 7 strikes, 8 strikes, 9 strikes. Before one dissipated, the next followed. The sword light surrounded the All-Seer, replacing all other light. 10 strikes, 11 strikes. Until the 19th strike, Wang Lin coughed up blood and his crimson armor dimmed. 20 strikes, 21, 23 strikes. At his limit, the armor around him dissolved into fire origin energy, and poured into the iron sword. The 24th strike. Popping sounds echoed from Wang Lin's body. Blood streamed from his eyes, yet his expression grew even more ferocious as he raised the sword again. The surrounding sword lights whistled sharply. In the blink of an eye, the 25th strike formed. At that instant, blood burst from Wang Lin's chest. His wounds tore open. His body trembled violently, yet an unyielding will held him upright. With a miserable smile, he raised the sword once more. The 26th strike swept past the All-Seer. The All-Seer's expression shifted slightly. He stared at Wang Lin deep in thought. "What you are doing is useless. With my first Heaven's Blight cultivation, you need at least 30 strikes from that pseudo-Nirvana void treasure to stop me. Is that so?" Wang Lin's vision blurred, yet his hand did not stop. The 27th strike appeared. Blood poured from all his orifices. With a roar, he hurled the iron sword. It transformed into the 28th and 29th strikes. The All-Seer shook his head. At this moment, Wang Lin's origin soul began collapsing on a massive scale. Though it had not fully dissipated, he grew weaker. Yet in exchange, he gained even more origin energy. The iron sword erupted with blinding light. As it circled the All-Seer, the 30th strike appeared. It did not stop. The 31st and 32nd strikes followed like lightning. 33 strikes. Wang Lin roared, his voice shaking the heavens. Blood gushed wildly from his body, forming the final blow, the 33rd strike. The 33 strikes encircled the All-Seer. With a final point from Wang Lin, they merged into a single torrent of sword energy capable of piercing through the demon spirit land. It carried boundless power and overwhelming killing intent as it surged forward. The rust upon the iron sword fused into the light of the blade. Rumble, rumble, rumble. A heaven-shaking impact erupted around the All-Seer. At that instant, all battles ceased. Every gaze turned toward that unimaginable collision. Even ancient devil, Taja, revealed a strange expression as he looked over. "Master!" Tarshan clenched his fists, his body trembling. "Master!" Big Head's origin soul stared forward, a pain beyond words filling it. Little Lin, Situ Nan covered in blood as he battled the All-Seer's avatar, turned with bloodshot eyes. A storm of swords rose where Wang Lin and the All-Seer stood. It pierced into the heavens. The entire demon spirit land trembled violently. The earth collapsed. The sky shifted in color. Thunder roared. The sky was torn apart, revealing the endless void beyond. As the sword storm swept through the demon spirit land crumbled, the heavens collapsed and boundless origin energy flooded inward. The violent collision produced a devastating shockwave. When it finally dissipated, the All-Seer stood calmly in place. In his hand was an ancient trident. Yet most of his garments had shattered. Even large portions of his hair had been torn away by the wind. Wang Lin's body, filled with unwillingness, slowly fell backward. From the towering pillar, he plunged toward the collapsing earth below. "I'm about to see my father and mother." As he fell, his blurred gaze lifted toward the torn sky. He faintly saw them, his parents waving at him, their faces bearing gentle smiles he had not seen for over 1,000 years. Those smiles lived only in the deepest part of his heart. They were his most treasured memory. "Perhaps this is for the best." Wang Lin smiled softly. Behind his parents, the figures of Li Muan and Wang Ping appeared. "You were waiting for me." His eyes grew distant. He murmured as he fell. "It's just Situ. Zhou Yi. I couldn't keep my promise. I'm sorry." He closed his eyes. At that very moment, two figures appeared in the sky above the demon spirit land. A man and a woman. The man was the old figure from the brilliant void realm. The woman was Mu Bingmai. The moment she saw Wang Lin falling, her absolute beauty and icy calm shattered completely. An indescribable emotion surged within her. Her body moved before thought could form. She stepped forward and shot toward Wang Lin. The old man beside her frowned, letting out a quiet sigh. He did not stop her. Instead, he looked down upon everyone in the demon spirit land. Mu Bingmei moved like a drifting butterfly. She arrived beside Wang Lin and caught him. Looking at the man so close to her, the turmoil within her heart did not fade in the slightest. This was the first time she had truly faced him. With a soft sigh, she raised her jade-like hand. A crack opened before her. From within it, a jade bottle flew out containing a single pill. The bottle was crafted from the finest celestial jade, layered with countless restrictions to preserve the medicine within. If even the container was rootsy, the value of the pill inside needed no explanation. Without hesitation, Mu Bingmei took out the pill and placed it at Wang Lin's lips. The pill did not need to be swallowed. The instant it touched him, it dissolved into 2 strands of milky white gas and entered his nostrils. "No one in this world can kill you before I do." Mu Bingmei raised her delicate hand, capable of shaking the hearts of all cultivators. She turned her gaze toward the All-Seer. Her eyes were cold beyond measure.